Keisman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, and it looks like we have pretty much what the opening day lineup is, but there's a whole bunch that's kind of waiting on, I guess, some positive test results on some Miles Straw mostly, and this outfield situation could be a mess. I hate to say that. I know a lot of people are not really high on Miles Straw, but Miles Straw is the only true center fielder this team has. So the Astros, this is big news, and we'll have to see what happens over the next few days. And the Astros have made some announcements about who's going to be in their bullpen and so much more. And you can get Locked On Astros on podcast app Himalaya, as well as Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And when you get in your car, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Astros. Today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Go to BuiltBar.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your next order. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So I know that we've been paying attention to what's been going on. I know Miles Straw was supposed to start the game on Saturday, but then he was removed. I believe he was removed for Chas McCormick, if I remember correctly. But we saw Kyle Tucker make appearance in center field. This is something I've been kind of debating about all offseason. Should you give him a chance in center field? And we saw him make this diving effort to make a catch in center field, and it did not look great. I know that he did try, but it was not great overall. So what are your thoughts about Kyle Tucker playing center field?
I don't know. I know he has speed, and we know that he did the whole 30-30 thing, stole 30 bases at AAA. We know he's fast on the base paths, but being fast on the base paths is different from being fast in the field. Maybe it's a familiarity thing. Remember, he has gotten used to right field, and so there may be a little bit of a learning curve, but if we've got some guys that are out because of COVID protocol and stuff, he may be the guy to step in, or even, Chas McCormick, and we'll talk about that later. But Kyle Tucker, I think, can handle it fine. I think he just misjudged it. He clearly dove too soon for the ball. Yeah. And, I mean, that happens. Now, your best center fielders, your top-line center fielders, don't typically make missing dives like that, but it happens. And so it is spring training. Everything has been somewhat irregular, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily worried about it.
Yeah, so I know that Dusty Baker said that Garrett Stubbs and Abraham Toro and Miles Straw have all joined the quarantine for health and safety reasons. One of them potentially has symptoms of COVID-19 or something. We don't really know the situation. The Astros cannot technically tell us what's going on. But what's going on is that somebody's going to be tested. Either they've already been tested or they're waiting for the test results. But they said that hopefully they'll be cleared by Monday or Tuesday. But let's say that one of them tests positive and they're all within close proximity to the other people, then you could be without Miles Straw for opening day. So this is a big thing, and this is after the Astros have already not designated, but they've already released Steven Souza Jr. This is a big move that he's gone. And Chas McCormick has already been told that you made the opening day roster. And so Dusty Baker said this today. He said, we'd love to have two bona fide center fielders. You'd like to have two bona fide shortstops as well. I don't know if he knows this, but Alex Bregman's a pretty darn good shortstop, but whatever. And he said, you'd like to have two bona fide utility guys. So what they're going to do is they're going to deal with what they got right now, but they're going to have to go out and look for the waiver wires and see if they can bring an actual center fielder in, at least for a little bit. But hopefully everything's okay with Miles Straw because they need him in that lineup. They need him in center field because Chas McCormick, he's got all the speed in the world, maybe not as fast as Miles Straw, but he has not played a lot of center field. He is a right fielder. He's played some left field, but we don't have any other true center fielders on this team.
Well, right. Well, I think too, you had said about Alex Bregman sliding over, if you need another shortstop, but you got to realize, I think Abraham Toro is the other kind of, corner infielder. And I don't think Abraham Toro is he, I don't think he made this opening day roster, or is he with them?
Kim Lean says, do you think that the Correa deal gets done by April 1st? We'll have to talk about that in a little bit, but it's going to be tough. And I'm hopefully, like I said, I hope they went out for sushi or something. And
just like Steve Cohen did with Lindor. They went to dinner and they're discussing a $300 million deal with Lindor. So, Eric, I did a poll today and only did it for about 4 hours, and 69% of the people said that if a deal with Lindor gets done before our fans think that he becomes a free agent and basically goes somewhere else. And that is just that's not cool. I think Carlos Correa, I think you and I both feel like he needs to be here. He needs to be in an Astros uniform. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to open the pocketbooks. And I'm thinking Correa may have a higher price in his head of what he's worth than what the Astros are willing to put forth.
Yes, right now. And I know that Brian Daley Cruz, he was looking pretty good this spring. I know Dusty Baker is pretty high on him, but unfortunately, he got hurt in an injury, so it doesn't look like he may be an option. He is also not on the 40-man roster, but he was 5 for 15 during spring training with 5 RBIs. Also, you have Jose Siri, who's also not on the 40-man roster. He was 6 for 30, batting 200 with 1 homer. And Chas McCormick, he batted 2 for 24, batting 0.83 with 11 strikeouts. So Chas McCormick didn't really earn his way on the team, but because he was on the 40-man roster, the Astros literally had no other option. So even if they go out there and add somebody else, they're going to have to drop somebody. So the Astros have put themselves in a bad situation. Hopefully everything's okay with Miles Straw, but this is not a good place to be if you are the Houston Astros. They didn't bet on their outfield. So speaking of betting, let's go and talk about betonline.ag.
Yeah, man, bet online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. And so football might be over, but the NBA, college basketball, the NHL are in full swing. I mean, I'm watching the rest of the Elite 8 today. They've got all the experts. They cover you, not just with sports, but with reality TV, with game shows, real-time odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. Bet Online has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way and the best place to place your bet. So sign up right now for free. Go to their website or use their mobile app, and you'll receive a 50% welcome bonus when you use the code LOCKEDON. Bet Online, your sportsbook experts.
All right, get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast. Host Peter Bukowski updates you with all the latest news in every major sport with the help of our local experts, including Brett and I. Follow the Locked On Today podcast wherever you get your podcast. So, guys, if y'all have got some questions or if you want to go and chime in with your thoughts as well, go and do so in the chat over there. That's part of why we did this live stream on the restream, and then you can listen to it tomorrow. But, yeah, the Astros have put themselves in a little corner right now, and the outfield has been a big situation. They could have gone and gotten Jake Marisnick this offseason. They could have gone and gotten a whole bunch of people this offseason. But unfortunately, now they've kind of backed themselves up against the wall. They saved themselves some money with $2.25 million by not basically having Steven Souza Jr. make the team. Yes, he didn't really earn it, but I would trust him a lot more than Chas McCormick at this time. And unfortunately, we may not have any options. Chas McCormick may be your opening day right fielder or center fielder because
I mean, honestly, I don't really think it's that. I mean, yeah, it's not ideally who you want out there, but you can find some highlights of him making diving catches in the outfield, especially like at Round Rock. And so I think Chas McCormick is one of these guys there. He's probably ready to prove himself. And I mean, who better would you want than someone who's been trying to get out there on the field than someone like him? He has speed. He can hit. And so I think it's not a bad stopgap. It's better than picking up someone randomly and throwing them on the team from somewhere else that's not familiar with the clubhouse, that's not familiar with the players and the organization. So I'm not gonna be too pessimistic about it, but it's not ideal for sure. To what you're speaking.
Yeah, Robel Garcia could also he's likely to make the team at this point. He can play left field. You can move Michael Brantley to right field. That's not ideal. Have Tucker play center field and just pray that he's able to catch. Because remember that I don't know what the Coliseum is, that what they call the A Stadium?
Yes.
But just that's a massive outfield, and they have the big foul territory out there. So that's be a lot of space to cover. So for you not to have a true center fielder out there. So hopefully Miles Straw is okay, because the Astros have a lot of ground to cover out there. And also Ledmus Diaz, if he is healthy, he could also play some left field as well. So the outfield could be a mess, and we will find out, I guess, Monday, maybe Tuesday. But let's not freak out too much, because I'm about to start freaking out.
Dusty Baker may wait until March 31st. Dusty Baker may say something and you think he's telling you what the lineup is, but then throw a curveball, because he likes to do that, right? He's become one of our favorite people to listen to in the media. And if, for those of y'all listening, if you haven't listened to his Zoom calls or his press conferences, listen to the things he says. Go back and listen to our podcast where we talk about him. He has definitely got a way with words.
Yeah, speaking of curveball, Brian Abreu has made the team as a reliever. This is awesome, coming after the season where he was basically a forgotten guy. And guys, if you would like to make comments, you can go do so in chat. And if you want to ask questions, you can do so as well. And this is Dusty Baker said, we didn't just put him on the team. He pitched his way on the team. And so he said he was throwing the ball well. Yeah, this is great. His control problems have been an issue. I know last year that was the big issue. I remember every time he'd come in game, he would walk a whole bunch of hitters, and he didn't stay up very long. But
he was Framber Valdez before Framber Valdez fixed himself. So because, and that's the thing, Eric, about these arms. This guy, Brian, I mean, all these young arms, they're live arms. They're good arms. And once Brent Strom and those guys work with them, I think Abreu's gonna give us huge dividends. And when I say huge dividends, he doesn't have to save the world. He just needs to come in and do a little bit above expected. I think he can do that.
Yeah, so last year in 2020, he allowed 10 of the 20 batters he faced to walk. So yeah, that's going to get you sent down to the alternative site every time. So, but this year in 10 1/3 innings in a Grapefruit League, he allowed 5 earned runs, struck out 9, only walked 2 batters. So that's not a bad situation there. So and Abreu said that I'm just being consistent and executing pitches. That's the main thing I've worked on this spring. And so it also looks like the 5th starting spot is down to Brandon Bielak and Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia also had an immaculate inning this past week, I believe so. And it looks like the bullpen, the pitching staff is pretty much set. It's going to be Greinke, Javier, and McCullers and Urquidy. I kind of jumped the gun there a little bit, but that's our starting rotation. So game 1, it's going to be Greinke. Javier is going to pitch game 2. Who would have thought that? Your game 2 pitcher is going to be Christian Javier. But he went out and pitched 5 1/3 innings in a B game yesterday. So that was great. Then Lance McCullers will pitch in game 3. Jose Urquidy will pitch in game 4. So the Astros won't necessarily need a 5th starter for a while, but I think that Jake Arizzi, he's going to start the last game of the not Cactus League, but the Grapefruit League tomorrow before they head back to the Houston area. But he is going to probably pitch he's going to join a rotation at some point once he builds his arm strength up.
Yeah, I think Luis Garcia is the guy that they're going to cement in for that fifth starting role for right now. He looks so good. And, Bielak, for all intents and purposes, I know some people have said, I've had conversations with them, so they say he makes them nervous and all that stuff. But Bielak's been working through some stuff, and he's looked better lately. And I love Belak in the long reliever role right now. Why you still got guys, why you still got, these question marks, the starting five, because Framber Valdez is going to come back and all that stuff. It's just one of those things where you want I want Luis Garcia to go in there and pitch and be that fifth starter. I love Belak in that long reliever role. It looks like we got a question here. Who do you guys think gets demoted once Odorizzi and Framber are activated? Well, that's a good question.
Well, we don't even know when Framber Valdez is going to get activated, so that's something for down the road. But I think it's really going to be who's struggling and who has options. Options are going to be the biggest thing. I think somebody like Abreu or Belak, that's going to be somebody, or Garcia, somebody who's struggling, somebody like who they want to keep stretched out. So I would say whoever's struggling between Garcia and Belak is probably going to be the one that goes down when Odorizzi goes down. And then we'll have to see who goes down from there. But speaking of going down, let's talk about who's going down in the latest edition of March Madness in Built Bar.
Well, Built Bar is having a tournament right now of all their flavors, and we are in the final stretches of the Built Bar tournament right now. They have not given us the matchups for tomorrow, but you can go to builtbar.com or at built_bar, and you can vote for your favorite flavors. Let me tell you, it's the best tasting protein bar in the business. It is wrapped in 100% chocolate. It's low calorie, it's high fiber, high protein. And let me tell you, we don't eat anything else when it comes to protein bars. If you open my fridge, you will see hundreds of Built Bars. Maybe not hundreds, but quite a few. As many as you could fit on the opening door of a fridge. We've got them. You need to go to builtbar.com and use the promo code LOCK15 to get 50% off your order. Builtbar.com, the best protein bar in America.
The Locked On MLB Division Preview Series continues on Locked On MLB Today. Every episode from now until the 31st features in-depth looks at each team in every division. It's all on the Locked On MLB podcast feed right now. Follow Locked On MLB on the radio.com app or wherever you get your podcast. So let's get back to the most important team on our minds, which is the Houston Astros. And you know why I love this Restream app, Brett? It has a little timer up there. I can keep time of this.
Cool, because I don't have a timer. So that's great that you do, because I have no clue how long we're going.
Yeah. So speaking of that, let's talk about what happened. I think I erased it accidentally, but we had Yordan Alvarez do something that he has done all spring training. That was he hit a homer, and it was opposite field, and I erased all the great stat whatever, but it was a beauty, and this is something that the Astros are going to be counting on a lot this year. So, and also Alex Bregman had one, and yes. So Baker said that he's getting his timing in. That's why he left him in there. Breggy's getting his timing in, and both of them came out of the game unscathed. So they're healthy. They're both swinging the bat good. That's all you can want. And Alvarez said that I feel healthy, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think Alvarez, Bregman, they're looking good. Bregman's timing looks there. We do have a question. One of our listeners asking, who do you think will earn the leadoff spot on the in the lineup? Well, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Jose Altuve. That's right. Jose Altuve is going to be the guy. Dusty Baker talked about the fact that he's got 250 hits and 750 at bats. He's got a 315 lifetime average in the leadoff spot. So that is Jose Altuve's to keep. And I believe that he will keep it. I believe that Jose Altuve will be disciplined at the plate. I hope he doesn't press, and I hope he doesn't try to get out of the strike zone too much. But it would be great for Jose Altuve to do George Springer type things and lead off opening day the first at bat with a home run. I think if he does that, I think that would set such a wonderful tone. He doesn't have to hit a home run the very first at bat, but if he did, that would be the best outcome, I think, for this guy.
Yeah, and I think Jose Altuve, he was a shoo-in for this. I don't know why I guess we all look at what he did last year and we're like, yeah, I don't think he should do it, but it's a no-brainer for him to do it. This is he was the leadoff hitter before before George Springer became the leadoff hitter. So this is something that we should have all thought about. So yes, I'm glad that you brought that up, Argenis. I hope that's how you say it. But thank you for being a loyal listener. A lot of y'all, Pierce, so thank you as well. And Danny, yes, you're right. The Astros are going to have to pay Carlos Correa. So the thing is, Carlos Correa has this inflated impression of how much he should be paid. I'm not saying he's not worth it, but the Astros think he's worth about 20 million, while he thinks he's worth about 30 million. So there's quite a big gap here. So they have to kind of find some type of midway in between that, whether that be 25 million for over. He wants the Astros want 6 years. He wants 10 years. They're going to have to find some way to kind of middle grounds or something. So is that 8 years, 25 million? Who knows? But they're running out of time. What they have 3 more days. So can they get it done? Yes, I think they can absolutely get it done. Get a Zoom call. Just get some. You get things done when you're drinking. So just get some margaritas going. Now that we know that Crea likes the margaritas.
We joked the other day, get him drunk and offer him kind of a bad deal. I'm joking. No, sorry, seriously, Carlos Crea, if you're listening, it's a total joke. Maybe get the owner drunk and then get 35 million, and then be like, oh, dang it, we got to pay anyways. But Carlos Correa, I think, has to get at least 8. I think he'd take a minimum 7, and I think, like I've said all along, I think he's shooting for 27 to 30 million. I don't see him. If he accepts less, then it's going to be over a longer period of time. If he accepts 25, it's going to be over 10 years.
Yeah, if he accepts less, it's going to be you're going to be paying a Bobby Bonilla type of thing where you're going to be paying $1 million for 30 years or something. But even that, I think that I don't know how that affects the AAV. I'm not really sure. But I know that Andy Martino is reporting that the Mets Steve Cohen met with Lindor, and they're willing to exceed their $300 million for Lindor to get him to extend him before opening day. And so the Mets are really trying to get their guy done. So Correa is looking at that. There's wow, I came up with Lindor. We battled for the Rookie of the Year that year. I feel like I compare to him. So he's wanting that money, but the Mets are like, oh yeah, we just traded for him. We want to build a franchise around him. But the Astros don't compare the two players at the same level. And honestly, it's because Correa has had trouble staying on the field. And not to say that he's not the elite talent. I think this year will kind of put him in that. I think his fire this year is going to put him up in the upper echelon in the free agents. But this year is going to be weird. So let's go and do some random shit category of this podcast. I actually said yes.
Eric.
All right. Stop.
Eric's getting brave. All right, I like it, man.
All right. So Blue Jays pitcher Ross Stripling said he reached out to George Springer when they became teammates to discuss the 2017 World Series, had a good conversation, and put it behind them. Okay. So what does that mean?
They had a good conversation.
George, did you cheat? Yeah. What about it? Well, I didn't like that. Okay. I'll hit some home runs for you this year. Okay, cool.
Or maybe he said, did you read the LA Times article that basically exonerated us, saying that the cheating didn't statistically help us, it actually hurt us in some instances? Or the Wall Street Journal article? I mean, did you read the evidence that really showed that what we did was we kind of dicked around a little bit?
All right,
and,
stop talking.
You know what I'm saying? No. Hey, hold on. That's what I'm just saying. That's I don't think the guys. Here's the thing. I think fans are more offended by it than the players. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know, and definitely, and I know that Andy Martino is writing a book. I know you didn't want me to mention it, but I love the way how he mentions all the teams that were affected by it, including Houston fans. You might want to buy these books, and listed all the cities, including us. I'm like, I'm not going to buy that book. No. But I saw Danny Vitelli. I'm not sure how you say his name, but he listed Michael Brantley's 573 career strikeouts in 10 plus seasons. And he listed some other notable players. Aaron Judge has 575 Ks in 5 seasons. Trevor Story has 726 strikeouts in 5 seasons. Kyle Schwarber has 591 strikeouts in 5 seasons. Javi Baez has 769 strikeouts in 5 seasons. And Joey Gallo has 672 strikeouts in 4 seasons. So you can see that Michael Brantley is a guy that you need in the lineup because he doesn't strike out a lot. And my final, whatever I call this random shit part of the podcast, former number 1 pick, Mark Appel, is attempting a comeback with the Phillies. Maybe he heard us talking so much crap about him on podcasts.
He's going to prove us wrong.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Those Locked On Astros guys keep on using my name in vain, so I'm going to come back and prove them wrong.
Okay, I hope. Didn't Mark Pryor try to come back and Matt Harvey tried to come back? I mean, look, you know what? I hope he is able to come back and do something, because for you to be a number 1 overall pick and have that much promise or that much that high a level of expectation, and to not get there and to not do that has got to be honestly one of the toughest things to fight through. And the fact that he's come back and the fact that he's making an attempt means that, you know, he did a great job. In that, I always say this to my athletes that I coach: life is 10% what happens to you and 90% what you do with it. And he may have a great story. He may come back and throw for 1 or 2 seasons, maybe be able to write a book about it, go around talking about it. And who knows, he may come in and have 3 or 4 good seasons. He's actually still pretty young, Eric. He's not like coming back at 40, you know, he's still in his 20s.
All right. Before we close out the show, if y'all have got any questions, go type them in real quick and we'll get to them real quick. So, yeah, the Astros situation with the outfield is something that could have been avoided this offseason. Maybe if they would have brought in a George Springer. But even if you would have gone back out and signed George Springer, they would have been over the luxury tax threshold. So I don't want to hear we should have done that. I think that I knew this was going to come up. I was talking to Jason from the Locked On A's podcast, and Kim says, is Mike Fiers avoiding the Astros? And I don't think so.
I think it's all coincidence. To be honest, I don't think I think last year, I think they hit him. I honestly think last year that they purposely did not have him throw against the Astros on purpose. I truly believe that. Now this year, I think it's like one of those, it happened before and this just happened to come up, because you can't report fake injuries. You can't, I mean, you can get in trouble for that. And so, I mean, he probably is genuinely injured, but if he avoids the Astros all season, then I will say there is something sinister up. And that is, since we're cussing, that is chicken shit, if you ask me. If you're going to have the ball, if you're going to have the balls to come out and rat the team out that you so gladly received the World Series ring for and smiled and waved, and they did the tribute video from your no-hitter and all that stuff, you at least need to have the balls to face the team that you ratted on. I mean, come on. I mean, why not? Go strike them out. Because the last time we played them, didn't we shell them for like 7 home runs? So
yeah, and that's why he got mad and like pissed that they went to whatever. So, by the way, Pedro Baez, he still, I don't know what his condition is, but he's obviously not going to make the opening day roster, and he's going to have to get himself back in baseball shape because he's not ready to start the season. So that's somebody that they're going to have to find a place for at some point. And congratulations to the U of H Cougars for advancing. I know Mattress Mac is a richer man, I guess I should say, for winning that bet. And go Astros! Opening day is here, and we will be doing a live locker room podcast on opening day. I think we're going to start exactly maybe a little bit before opening day, and y'all can join the conversation. And go Astros! And thank you for everybody who listened live. And if y'all like this, we'll do this more often. So go Astros.
Y'all have a good one.